Hi, welcome to New Comic Book Day. I'm your host, Katie Rex. I'm on Twitter at EOTU Comics if after the show you want to chat with me. That'd be cool. Today we're going to talk about all the cool new comics that came out this Wednesday. So we're going to start by talking about trade paperbacks today. And there are two that are coming out that I'm really excited about, and they're both actually by Joshua Williamson, because this guy doesn't sleep. We're going to start by talking about Nailbiter Volume 2. We have Volume 1. We're fans of Volume 1. The premise of Nailbiter is that there's this town, Buckaroo, and in Buckaroo there have been 15 different serial killers that have been born there. Anyway, Volume 2 continues the story where our protagonists have started to figure out where their friend, the FBI agent, had left off in his investigation. And this volume is also the one that guest stars our good buddy Brian Michael Bendis. Volume 2, out today. The next trade, also by Joshua Williamson, I may have mentioned this, is called Birthright. And that's the one that's about that kid that was taken away from his family and pulled into an alternate dimension where he was trained to become a warrior for decades and war and magic and high fantasy, and then he comes back to the real world and it's only a year later. So for instance, his big brother is still, 7 and he's this grown-ass man with a beard. Anyway, it's a trade, so it's collecting issues 1 through 5. Check it out, it's a good book. There are a lot of great series starting this week. Some of them we've been anticipating for a very long time. Some of them sort of flew under our radar and we're just finding out about this week. We're going to start with Princess Leia, because we've been going nuts over this for a while. We really like Princess Leia. We really like Princess Leia. Anyway, Princess Leia number 1 is new from Marvel Comics today, and it's throwing out the whole extended universe that Dark Horse came up with, and it starts right at the end of A New Hope. It's got a lot of work to do, and it's got to do it very quickly in order to keep fans as engaged, especially fans who had been into the extended universe previously. And one of the things I really like is that this art has incredibly expressive faces, and we're learning a lot about our protagonists through secondary characters, which helps us both develop Leia and the rest of the cast, mostly Leia because she's the most important, through secondary characters who are then being developed themselves. They're doing a lot of good work very quickly, which they have to, so good job. Also, the first issue of Neverboy is coming out this week from Dark Horse. And this is about an imaginary friend. It's very different. This is a grown man. It's got the kind of sad sack, melancholy, middle-aged white man trope that we're very familiar with, except somehow he was a child's imaginary friend, which is kind of cool. And he's figured out how to take hallucinogenic drugs to make himself real. And I'm still not really sure how it works, but I'm fucking hooked. It's funny. It's a good book. It's funny. The art is really great. It's definitely about children but for grown-ups. Citizen of the Galaxy, which is an adaptation of Robert Heinlein's prose novel, it has a first issue coming out this week as well. I've read a little bit of Heinlein. I won't say I'm an expert, but I would rather read him in prose. This comic is doing a lot of things right, but it's just an adaptation. It's not bringing anything that I feel is particularly modern, and because Heinlein's work is sci-fi that was written so long ago, it's very dated. It's a fun read. It's about a little boy who was a slave and he gets sold to a beggar because nobody wants him, and then the beggar teaches him how to read and speak languages and saves his life and stuff. And it's a good story. It's a really good story. It's just not as exciting as I wanted it to be. So some have called this the year of Lemire. Lemire, and this is his new series called Descender #1. The premise is interesting. It's about a small android boy in a world where androids have been outlawed, genocided. Androids are not okay anymore, and this little boy and his family and his dog and a whole colony of androids have left on a spaceship, and he gets put into sort of a stasis, and when he wakes up, everybody's dead. So this little boy is going to kind of get to the bottom of everything, and he knows to look for things that most little boys, I don't think, would know to look for. Like, he goes and he checks and he notices that 2 shuttles are missing from the bay. Although I guess when I was little and my parents left, I'd go and see if the cars were in the garage. Maybe it's just a life thing. Who knows? The art by Dustin Nguyen is really interesting. It's very beautiful watercolors. It's not always as dynamic or in motion as I want it to be, but I see a lot of room for growth, and I think that the character designs are just gorgeous, and the colors are great, and I think that this book has a lot of places that it could be going. So last in our #1s is not exactly a #1, it's a one-shot. So in this case, it's a crossover between Nailbiter and Hackslash. Which has a lot of potential, and it has one story by each of the creative teams, which is a great decision. It's about a time when our Nailbiter character, the serial killer, was not yet either suspected or later arrested for being a serial killer, and he meets Cassie of Hackslash, Cassie Hack, as she's stalking and killing serial killers, and he's helping her, or is he? It's a really fun little book. And so next we're going to move on and we're going to talk about a series that we're already following and that we are going to continue to follow because they're doing good things. We're going to start by talking about Cluster #2. Anyway, it's got that space camp, prison camp, criminals and space, outer space, and war thing going. In the previous issue, we ended with our merry crew of prisoners probably going to be dead by the next 24 hours because that's how their punch thing works. If you run away from camp, within 24 hours you die. And they didn't run away from camp, they were sort of marooned, and they have to get back to camp, if they can, on this incredibly inhospitable climb. It produces a lot of new, interesting political intrigue, and it introduces the everything may not be as it seems element. It's got a lot of new stuff going on, as well as continuing the story from last month. Egos #6 is out this week. And I know we've talked about it before, and it's basically, this issue is the one that I've been waiting for since the very beginning, because I know that the character Deuce is supposed to be this incredibly unlikable protagonist, and you're supposed to be like, what a douche! And so I really liked that in this issue the team gets to go off, do their own thing for a minute, get to know their dynamic, and even Pixel, who is a superhero veteran at this point, starts to learn new things about her and about her powers and about the way she works with the team dynamic. It's got a lot of really good things happening. Hey guys, did you know that I like Angela? So we like Angela in this household. And #4 comes out today. The cool thing about this issue is that it's very fucking funny. And it's been funny before. There have been these moments between Loki and Angela, but overall it's had a fairly serious tone. And in this issue, fucking Guardians of the Galaxy. So Gamora and Angela are BFFs, which by the way stands for Best Friends for Fighting. And also Groot makes himself into a cradle for the baby, and they're in space doing space business, which is awesome. And then fucking unworthy Thor, aka Odinson, is like climbing up rocks and being like, I'm such a man, I'm gonna bleed for the journey. I don't know, because he's Odinson and that's the fuck what he does. So, Angela number 4, you guys. You should be getting Angela number 4. Angela says you should be getting Angela number 4. She's a little biased, but she thinks you should be getting this one. You guys, guess what comes out? This is Zahora. She's also a hero cat. Not a number 4. She's a number 1. She's an original. Her superpowers, she has no tail. She has no tail. So Hero Cats is a team of superhero cats, superpowered cats, who are a superhero team. They're fighting evil, and it seems like the world is very much the same as our own, but with some really weird shit happening. And some of the weird shit could just be shit that cats already know about. I don't know, do you know? And that people are just not capable of understanding the various kinds of evil and the ways that cats fight crime. This one can catch a jewel thief. Oh, the other great thing that happens in this issue is we get a lot of the backstory, not only of our individual cats, but of the team, how they got together, what made them fight evil. You guys, it's superhero cats. Let's talk about Imperium number 2. So this is that one that's about Toyo Harada, and it's also about the entire Valiant universe. And we talked about it that one time, remember? It starts really compellingly, and it's got that thing that I like so much, which is an adorable little girl with a bow in her hair and a toy stuffed bunny who can totally destroy the world with her mind. And she's especially dangerous because everything that comes out of her mouth starts with Harada says or Harada thinks. So she's like this adorable little puppet that can destroy the world. If you don't know a ton about the Valiant universe, you're gonna need to go back and read everything to really get into this one. But it's a very good book. I'm really excited for where it's going. It's very complicated. It expects you to know a lot about the world so that you know how different conflicts are going to affect different political factions and different people. But it's very well written. The complexities are considered and intentional. Now it's time for the book of the week, which you probably guessed because I haven't mentioned it yet. It's Rat Queens number 9. Do I like Rat Queens? I might like Rat Queens. What do you think? Rat Queens number 9. It took a really long break because of a lot of things, namely the switch in artists. And Sheinaus is doing some really cool things with the characters. They're more expressive than I think they have been in the past. The tone has lost a lot of the light cartoony humor. It's got a lot of, it's still really fucking irreverent and it's got a lot of humor. It's just a little bit different in tone with this new artist. And I think it works. I think it's good. And for a comic that really needs the chance to regroup, pull together, and fight on, that's actually what this issue is about. Is all of our main characters are regrouping, and they're pulling together, and it's sort of reminding us of who all is involved in this conflict and how they're doing it. And I can't tell you enough how much I really love this new art. I loved the old art, don't get me wrong, it was doing a good thing. But this new art is working really well with the characters. It's a great fit, and I'm very happy with it. Rat Queens, number 9. You maybe want to go back and read numbers 7 and 8, just to kind of refresh yourself. But I can do that. Basically, it's still the big battle. So now you're caught up. It's really good. You should read it.